Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Swift Nation, and just before this video starts, I just want to say that this video is probably not the greatest for younger viewers because it contains a lot of mature content and it's just extremely scary. But if you want to push your luck, go for it, and I highly recommend you guys watch this video at night because it is probably the creepiest story I have ever came across and makes you guys wear headphones for the best experience. But without further ado, let's get started. So, before I begin to tell you what has been happening, I need to fill you in on a little background info. When I was young, me and my friends used to love scaring each other with scary stories at sleepovers. One story in particular creeped me the hell out. Now, usually we put our own twists into it, with a serial killer or monster or ghost or whatever as the killer. Either way, it always managed to keep me up at night after hearing it. I even remember one time when I was fairly young, my best friend at the time, Dan, and I were having a sleepover. After retelling the same story, Dan decided to scare the shit out of me. He packed a sleeping bag with pillows and blankets to make it look like he was still fast asleep. Then he woke me up by saying, "John, I'm upstairs." He proceeded to walk down the stairs one by one and say, "John, I'm on the third step," and so on till he got to the bottom. I eventually found out it was him by smacking his pillow bag, foiling his plan. Okay, so now this brings me to a few nights ago. I'm currently living alone in a very small house, and as I was sleeping, I woke up to the sound of a man moaning. Now, this isn't some stupid moan of a ghost would do in a cartoon movie. It wasn't a scream, and it wasn't really loud. It started quiet and got louder with a hair-raising sound. Safe to say it woke me up, but seeing as I was dreaming beforehand, I wasn't sure if I was just imagining it or not. Either way, I got up and searched my house for a little bit. I'm kind of a paranoid type, by the way. Nothing. No one was there. I must have just imagined it. The next night, right before drifting off to sleep, I heard the sound of shuffling coming from my basement. The stairs to my basement are really close to my bedroom, so if I turned left outside my room, I could walk downstairs. Then I heard it as clear as day. "Hey." My heart dropped. Who the frick was in my house? I figured somebody was robbing the place and had no idea what I should do. Then I heard, "John, I'm in the basement." Who the hell is this? And why were they in my house? Then the voice whispered, "John, I'm on the first step." The voice sounded really bizarre. It was a whisper, but the sound almost cut in and out like it was a recording. The voice sounded like it was constantly out of breath. That was enough for me. I sprang out of bed, grabbed a trophy, the only thing heavy and long enough to be a weapon in my room, and I ran to the top of the stairs. The lights were off, so I could only see the top 5 stairs or so. "Who the hell are you, and what are you doing in my house?" I yelled. I got no reply. I turned on the basement light and ran downstairs, ready to beat the absolute shit out of somebody. The bastard was hiding. I couldn't see him. I frantically checked all of the possible hiding spots, but no one was there. What the hell? Eventually I got up the nerve to go upstairs and check any of the other rooms. When I got to the top of the stairs, I saw that the front door was wide open. Whoever it was probably ran out. I was still terrified, but kind of relieved. Still, I checked every room and made sure the doors were all locked. No sleep for me that night. The next goddamn night, this crap happened again. I woke up to the sound of movement coming from downstairs, and before I could do anything, I heard, "John, I'm on the third step." I quickly jumped out of bed and grabbed that trophy, turned on the basement light, but before I went downstairs, I noticed something. My front door, back door, and garage door were all wide open. What the hell is happening, I thought. Then I heard something coming from the basement again. The very soft whisper of, "John, I'm on the fourth step." I ran down there screaming profanity and was ready to really hurt whoever this was. Then became more frightened than I have ever been in my life. Again, absolutely no one was in my basement. I closed all the doors, made sure they were all locked. I phoned the police and they told me they would send a car to come look around. But if there was no one in the house or any damage to the house to investigate, it would be pointless to come check it out. They told me to call if anything happens again. I felt insane. That stupid scary story was constantly on my mind, and that's when I thought of Dan playing his dumb trick on me as a kid. And you may be thinking, of course, it's Dan playing another trick. But Dan has been dead for 10 years. He overdosed on drugs years ago. I stopped being friends with him when he got into that lifestyle, and I was still shaken up when he died. I'd like to say I went and bought a hotel room and stayed there, but stupid me, I didn't. I decided to stay at home and push my luck, and you guessed it. This night was worse. This was last night, and I tried to sleep but couldn't, so I was lying in my bed waiting for something to happen. Then it finally did.
Hey,
came the forced whisper from the basement. I couldn't move at all, and I was just staring at my wall and hoped to God the sounds would stop.
John, I'm at the top of the stairs.
Frick! I waited for about a minute in silence, and the voice came again, closer this time.
John, I'm outside your room.
I stared at the wall and hoped I was just going insane. Nothing was there. I heard the door creak open. I couldn't make myself look. I was in shock or something. Then the voice said, weirdly calm,
John, I see you.
It sounded like it was right beside my bed. At that point, I had enough. I screamed and launched myself from the bed. What the frick? No one was in my room. My door was completely shut. That's it, I thought. I'm out of here. I ran out of the house with only one set of clothes, not failing to notice that all the doors and all the cabinets in my kitchen were wide open. Skip ahead to earlier today. Now, I didn't really believe in this stuff, but after what I just experienced, I sure as hell do now. But I hired a psychic lady, or whatever you call them, who had a Ouija board. We went to my house in the early morning, seeing as this shit only happens at night. I wanted her to get rid of whatever ghost thing was doing this to me. I couldn't get the idea of Dan's ghost tormenting me from the grave, but I let him go off on a path that led to his death. The lady, Tanya was her name, was just a normal looking chick. All she brought was a few candles and that Ouija board. We went down in the basement. It still freaked the hell out of me. She told me to turn off the lights. I did, and we set up the candles around the board. She did some weird stuff and began to talk to the spirit. She asked it things like, "Is someone here? And what do you want?" I was skeptical to believe it, but I felt the handle thing move, and I sure wasn't doing it. The thing answered back, "Yes," and John. At this point, I feel like my life is over. I tell her about my old friend Dan and how I think it could be him because very few people know about the scary story we used to tell. She asked if the spirit is mad at me and if I can do anything to help it. There was no answer. This is the part that really freaks me out. She then asked the spirit if it was actually my friend Dan. The reply was a shockingly fast movement of the handle to the no indicator. Tanya then asked the thing, "Who are you then?" It simply replied, "H-A-T-E. Tanya then said she has to go, and she was sorry that she couldn't help anymore. I immediately left the house. I am now writing this. I most certainly am not going back tonight. I posted this here in the hopes that someone knows what I should do. I will repost here if anything else happens. Update. Thank you all for your help. From what has been said, I sure as hell am not going back in my house. However, I said I would update if more happens. Well, more happened. So I bought a hotel room for the night and was feeling pretty pleased with myself. I was still terrified. Don't get me wrong, I spent most of the night researching supernatural shit like this. Yet I still have no idea what is happening or what I should do. So the hotel I'm staying at is not a 5-star resort. The rooms are simple and the layout of the place is very basic and old. Worst part is, I got a room on the 6th floor and the stupid elevator was broken. Luckily I had no luggage to carry up, but it was still a pain in the ass to walk up and down those stairs a bunch of times. So here's what happened. It was late, like really late. I was already pretty on edge from what had happened to me and from researching demons, ghosts, gremlins, whatever the hell popped up on my screen. I went to go get something to eat from the vending machine on the 3rd floor. I took the stairs. I bought a whole bunch of junk food and went back into the stairwell. It wasn't extremely dark in the stairwell, but it was still pretty creepy. The walls were all painted white and scratched up. It was an old building. I had the weirdest feeling come over me, and that's when I heard it.
Here.
That same frickin' voice from before. It sounded fairly far away, but I could tell it was coming from down the stairwell. It sounded so calm, yet the voice sounded so raspy and out of breath. For a second, I stood there, not knowing what to do, expecting this bloody demon-bodied monster to poke his head around the corner and chase me up the stairwell. I snapped out of it, started running up the stairs, almost tripping as I went up. When I got between the 4th and 5th floor, I heard it again.
Hey.
I froze. The voice was coming from up the stairs. Where was this thing? It then said to me from maybe one set of stairs up,
"John, I'll be in your room."
So not a chance in hell I was going back up there. I ran down to the 4th floor exit, still expecting to see some creature crawling up the stairs at me. It wasn't there, but as I left the stairwell, I swear I heard it say,
John, I'll see you soon.
I spent hours just waiting in that 4th floor hallway, freaking out that whatever it was would come charging down. Eventually a maid came by, starting her morning duties fairly early. I pretended I was just an early riser and walked with her down the staircase when she had to go back down. I checked out of the hotel and convinced one of my work friends to let me stay at his place. Almost all my friends don't live in the city anymore. I'm okay right now. I managed to take a long power nap, but I still can't get the voice out of my head.
John, I'll see you soon.
I included a second part about what happened last night, so here it is. I just want to warn you, things have gotten much worse, like seriously. Whatever has been effing with me isn't just playing around anymore. So I've been staying at my friend's house for the past couple of days, and the day before yesterday was actually a good day. Nothing weird happened. I spent the day with my friend, I had a nice supper with him and his wife, and we went to bed early. It was just the normal day I've been waiting for. However, last night was hell. My life as I know, it's over. So once again, the day was normal. I actually told my friend about what happened. I could tell he kind of thought I was going insane. He kept saying things like, lack of sleep can do crazy things to a person's mind and shit. Either way, it felt good to tell someone, I guess. I guess he just told his wife that my house was getting haunted or something, and that I needed a place to crash for a few days. I stayed up with my friend till around 1:30 a.m. Then he said he needed to catch up on some sleep, and that I should do the same. So I went to bed in their guest bedroom across the hallway from the master bedroom where my friend was staying. It felt like I closed my eyes for a second, and then all of a sudden I looked at the clock beside my bed and it was 3:35 a.m. I must have been really tired. However, at this point something felt off. I felt like everything was in slow motion, and that my body was heavy and groggy. I could barely move. If anyone has ever had sleep paralysis before, it was kind of like that, but I was much more aware of what was happening. Then it spoke.
John, I'm downstairs.
That creepy goddamn voice. It sounded like it was really far away, but I could still hear it. Now, my friend's house has a basement, a middle floor with his kitchen, home office, bathroom, etc. on it. And then the bedrooms were upstairs, one more floor. I heard a weird scratching sound and then silence for about 5 minutes. The waiting was the worst part. I could feel myself sweating, heart beating, but I couldn't move. My body felt weak and completely sapped of energy. Then the silence was broken. I heard the clanging sound of movement. It was closer than before.
I'm in the kitchen.
Then more clanging, then silence. The silence only lasted about a minute or two.
John, I'm on the first step.
All I wanted to do was pass out or get up and run. Anything but wait. But I just couldn't move a muscle. I shut my eyes and started shaking.
John, I'm on the second step.
The voice was so slow it seemed like it was mocking me.
John, I'm on the third step. John, I'm on the fourth step.
Each time the raspy voice would speak, it sounded like it was closer and closer, torturing me with seconds of silence while I awaited my worst fears.
John, I'm on the fifth step. John, I'm on the sixth step.
The calm voice seemed to echo as it got closer. I couldn't lift my head to look towards the door. I just laid there facing the ceiling with my eyes glued shut.
John, I'm in the hallway.
Then silence. I listened for sounds of movement. Nothing.
John, I'm in Jared's room now.
My heart almost jumped out of my chest as I heard the master bedroom door slam shut. I wanted so badly to get up and leave and yelled out for my friend. I was useless. I listened for the sounds of screams, fighting, anything. All I could hear was my own shallow breathing. I tried to calm down and stop breathing so I could hear better. I could still hear breathing, but it wasn't mine. The breathing was very light, like someone shallowly gasping for air, and it was coming from inside my bedroom. The door didn't open. How could have something gotten in here? I listened to the breathing for what seemed like a minute. I thought every breath of mine could be my last and that I was about to die. I couldn't tell if it was difficult to open my eyes because of the weakness at the time or because I didn't want to see what was in the bedroom. The voice spoke one last time. I thought when it eventually got to me, it might yell in my ear like some stupid horror story. John, you're dead. but it didn't. The voice was actually softer than usual in a weird, deep, but somehow light voice. The thing said,
John, I'm standing at the front of your bed.
I made myself do it. I opened my eyes to an almost squint in the darkness. I made out a shape. If it was possible to see a shadow in the dark, that is what I saw. I only kept my eyes open for a second, but I can't get the image out of my head. It was a shadow of a tall person, skinny, but the head was wrong. It was tilted to the side like someone had broke its neck or something. I also noticed that its arms did not rest at its hips like normal. They reached down closer to its knees like some lanky freak show. I didn't see any eyes, but what I did see was its smile, a freakishly white smile peeled back beyond what is usually possible. I felt like vomiting, but as the worst thoughts filled my head, I realized I could move my arms again. Then sensations filled my body as I sat up. I looked around the room and no one was there. I did not waste any time. I got up and ran out of the house. The house was destroyed. Every door, every cabinet, the fridge open, every plate smashed, every table flipped, wallpapers torn to shreds. It looked like a group of meth addicts had been living there for years. I didn't wait to examine the rest of the house. I was ready to get out of there. I almost left without my friend Jared and his wife. And actually, I wish I had. This is the part that I almost left out, partially because it was just too awful, and partly because I feel like I was involved in a terrible crime. I went to the master bedroom, I opened the door and saw hell. Every square inch of the wallpaper in the room was covered in repeating 4 words written in blood. They were in no particular order, and they were everywhere. The words were sees, John, watches, and hate. I couldn't see Jared or his wife, but I did see a streak of blood coming from under the bed. Why did I look? Did I think that anything good was gonna be under there? That Jared and his wife would be safe, hiding there for me to find? I found them. I lifted the blanket up and peeked my head under the bed. Immediately, I was staring at the face of Jared. But it wasn't Jared. It was his face torn off and placed on the face of his wife. Jared's body was lying on the top of his wife's with her face stuck to his. The skin impressions seemed like they were about to slip off blooded heads. The part that sticks with me the most is the fact that the thing that did this arranged them so they both had their index finger up against their alternate faces' lips, telling me to be quiet. So now you know why I didn't want to put this in here. If you see this on the news, please remember that it wasn't my fault. I don't know where I can go, but I can't go to prison. There's nowhere to run in prison. What did I do to deserve this? Maybe I should just give up. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you guys do drop a like. It always supports the channel. This was a really creepy story, and if you guys end up watching the whole thing, make sure you guys comment down below and leave a like. But until next time, guys, it's been Swift, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.